Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amy Giroux, reporting to you live from my home in Gatineau, Quebec, to yours to deliver what we like to call here at Global Vision some great news. In these challenging COVID times, Global Vision is trying to create a safe space where we can all come together to celebrate achievements that are happening from coast to coast to coast to around the globe, and also to commemorate what's happening here in Canada. And speaking of commemoration, we would like to send out our thoughts and prayers to the family and friends of Captain Jennifer Casey, who lost her life supporting the Snowbirds Operation Inspiration mission. To all of our friends in Nova Scotia, we wish that Nova Scotia stays strong, and you're all in our hearts. Last week, we took you to the Great White North, where we met with Global Vision graduate Frank Reardon, an avid photographer. And this week, we'd like to take it back to the East Coast. And today, I'm pleased to have join us Adam Peabody, GV grad, great friend, and director of Planet Hatch. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Amy. It's great to see you and Terry and the rest of the GV crew.
Yes, we're all working hard to stay strong over here. Now, Adam, I would like to start this off on a very positive note because I hear there's some great news to be heard from New Brunswick.
There is some great news, Amy. We just found out yesterday that the Premier indicated he'll be making an announcement on Friday that will continue the next stage of New Brunswick's recovery from COVID-19. So we'll be looking to open up the economy even more to allow for more group gatherings, for families to reconnect. And so far, we're on a streak of at least 2 weeks with no new active cases of COVID-19 in the province.
Well, that certainly is some great news. So how has this COVID times impacted your work with Planet Hatch?
Sure. So Planet Hatch is an entrepreneurship center located in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and we concentrate on helping develop globally competitive entrepreneurs and startup companies. And so certainly the physical distancing was an initial challenge for us. We very quickly, in a matter of just days, had to transition ongoing acceleration programs supporting those entrepreneurs completely virtual. We've always taken the view that virtual is good as necessary and helps us expand our reach, but we've always really enjoyed being able to connect in person with entrepreneurs and to have a center that allows for different collision points and networking that are so vital to building an innovation economy. So it was very different the first couple of weeks, the first few months, and of course, a lot of our clients who were trying to build businesses immediately had to shut down. And on the one hand, we had some initial very sad stories, but on the other hand, what we're seeing as some great inspiration, some great news, to borrow a phrase, is that it's really shown the resiliency and the innovation of the entrepreneurs in New Brunswick who have been able to either find new opportunities and pivot their companies to seize those opportunities, or really double down on the innovative work that they were already doing and accelerate the growth of their companies. So for us at Planet Hatch, we are always trying to be able to find new and innovative ways to support our entrepreneurs and to inspire them to tap into global markets and help them achieve the skills and knowledge that will enable them to do that. So we've continued to do that. It's just been in a very different way than we've ever been used to, but we're starting to see some really neat results lately.
Well, thanks for sharing that great news with us. But since we have you on our show today, and since you're a long-standing grad with Global Vision back to 2008, I was wondering if you could share some advice with our young entrepreneurs about things that you learned with Global Vision and you still practice today.
Absolutely. Well, I think that especially in the times of COVID, to me, the real strength of Global Vision and what it can offer any young person going through the various programs is more vital now than it ever has been. And I think one of the key elements that you get from a Global Vision experience is the ability to be flexible and to not only, not only be able to survive during times of change, but being able to thrive. And as the world is changing, Global Vision graduates are the ones who are identifying the new opportunities. They see change as a positive, and they're able to very quickly adapt to that change to really make something valuable, whether they're leading a company or whether they're doing, not-for-profit work. I've seen other graduates on the SGN show in the medical field, in finance, and each one of them, I think the common thread is that they've been able to take what most people see as a terrible situation, and most people are frozen in place during COVID-19. That's not the way Global Vision graduates operate because of these unique experiences, whether it's an international trade mission or meeting a head of state. They can operate on their own 2 feet, they can pivot quickly, and they can adapt to that change and see it as a positive. And so I think in the world of entrepreneurship, you'll never succeed if you don't have those skill sets, for sure. And that's why I think that you see so many graduates of Global Vision, if they're not an entrepreneur themselves that started a company, they are certainly an enterprising individual that's operating and making change in whatever work environment they find themselves in. So my advice to any participant of Global Vision programs is really embrace the opportunity to build up your skill sets for what I just talked about.
Well, thank you for sharing that valuable advice with us, Adam. And I'm sure we have some questions from the chief here because he is all about creating positive change. So please stay with us. Now I'll take it live to Calgary, Alberta, with Michael Badass, reporter with Some Great News, who's here to deliver some domestic, international, and I believe we're celebrating some GB birthdays today. Michael?
Yeah, that is right, Amy. Thanks for having me back on the show today. As you mentioned in the opening remarks, Canada was rocked by a national tragedy last week with the tragic loss of Captain Jennifer Casey as part of the Snowbirds demonstration team. Now, the interesting part about this Operation Inspiration is that it was meant to bring up the spirits of people coast to coast, whether they're healthcare workers or just citizens. Since the Snowbirds no longer can continue their cross-country trek, 35 BC pilots took it into their own hands to conduct their own flypasts, as where the Snowbirds would have flown initially, not only to continue Operation Inspiration, but furthermore to honor the lives and sacrifices of those lost last week in the tragedy. So an excellent show of resilience by Canada's greatest wingman. Moving on to some more international news, we have some great news from the Boston Zoo today. So there's a peacock that actually escaped from the zoo. Police officers had to get rather crafty when they're finding a way to bring it back. One police officer downloaded a peacock mating app sound on their phone and actually played it to coax the peacock to come back to them. And now I can report the peacock has been safely delivered back to the confines of the zoo. So an excellent work by the police officers today and a very crafty solution to a rather interesting problem. Moving on, we do have some birthdays to also celebrate today. So we're going to recognize a couple of GV graduates. First of all is Jennifer Shee from Ottawa, Ontario. And secondly is Haran Zhao from Thunder Bay, Ontario. So a big GV happy birthdays to you both today.
Thanks, Mike. You always bring some smiles to my face, and I'm sure to our viewers from coast to coast to coast and around the globe. Now, we're going to take it live to Terry Clifford, our president, founder, and my number one dad. Terry, take it away.
Thanks, Amy. And Michael, that's a really good job. And I want to extend happy birthdays as well. And delighted to have Adam in the house today. Seems so long ago, what were you, about 17 or 18 when you first joined us at Global Vision. And I can imagine all the places we've been together. And I like the sign that's on your wall there. Continue to be a game changer. So what I'd like you to describe, please, what are your game changer moments in your life? Can you give me a couple?
Well, an easy one to start was taking that first leap of faith to apply and leave my high school for a day to attend this thing called a Global Leader Center, which I had no real idea what it was, but it was my first step of getting involved in Global Vision. And Global Vision has certainly been a game changer for me in terms of not only, the career direction, but my personal life. all of the people that I've met, all of the experiences that I've had, and the skills that I've been able to work on through the program. So that certainly was a game changer because it really changed the whole trajectory of where I thought my life was going. I think that that as well, I've been able to apply a lot of the learning moments that I've had through Global Vision in my career here in New Brunswick. And with the work that I do at Planet Hatch, we've been able to reshift the center into what is quite unique for our provincial economy. When most people across the country, think of New Brunswick, they probably think of, Irving Oil. They might think of, fishing, agriculture, forestry, economy, and those are all certainly really important parts of our economy. But all of those industries are probably in its twilight. And so instead of creating an entrepreneurship center that was just focused on those industries that we already had strengths in, what our vision for Planet Hatch was to be able to take advantage of strengths in new emerging industries and see how they can revitalize old ones. So a good example for us is a real focus on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is clearly, touching all of our lives, even more so in the last few months. And many people won't realize that cybersecurity is actually integrated into sectors like forestry or agriculture or fishing. And so as a center, a game changer for us as well is, and I think this applies directly to my experience of Global Vision, is you really got to try and envision what is the long-term future and what are the trends that where they're going, and then work backwards for what you have to do today to try and seize on those, and then use all of your skills and talent to really double down to make something impactful happen. So those would be two that just jump out at me right away, Terry.
Okay. Well, I think a third one is on the horizon, not just for Adam Peabody, but for everyone. Because I believe that we're about to witness a paradigm shift in the way society will function in the future. So, if you can accept that as a possibility, what do you see could be game-changing moments, and how can young people be leaders in a game-changing moment in the future? And when I say future, I mean like now.
We're living through the future every single day during these times. I think you're absolutely right, and I think that a big trend that has only accelerated during these times is, what is our labor economy going to look like, not only in New Brunswick or Canada, but all around the world? And with the advances in technology, such as machine learning or robotics or artificial intelligence, these are highly disruptive technologies. And what is the world of work going to look like as those technologies become not only more commonplace, but more affordable for companies to use to replace, what have been jobs in existence for years and years? And there was a study, this was before COVID-19, but a study by RBC that estimated over 50% of the jobs in Canada across every single industry what would be either completely eliminated or highly disrupted by those technologies within the next 10 years. So 50% of all jobs in Canada in the next 10 years eliminated or highly disrupted. So I think what a game changer, how it ties into Global Vision is, you can worry about that, or you can do something about that. And for your own personal life, and for young people to be able to have, to set themselves up for success in what the new normal will be. And what we should be asking are, what are the skill sets that, not what are the jobs going to be, but what are the skill sets that those technologies can't replace? And those skill sets are things like adaptivity, complex problem solving, creativity, thinking outside of the box, interpersonal skills, group dynamics, all of those we know a computer can't do, at least right now. During the times of COVID-19, the jobs that might have been lost 2, 3, 5 years from now, those are gone now. They're not coming back. So if I'm a young person today, or younger than I am right now, and I'm just starting out into a career path, I would be asking myself, the skill sets that I just mentioned that are going to be in higher demand and can't be replaced, where is a place that I can start building those skill sets and getting experience with them? And that's where it ties into Global Vision, because those are the skill sets that I know you and Amy have been providing opportunities for young Canadians to develop, for nearly 30 years.
Thanks very much, Adam. And I'm really glad to hear you have a perspective on the very immediate future. And your message is really going to help us bring this news to the youth of Canada, because young people people say they're the future, they're the now of Canada. So now young people do things and you make the paradigm shift. Don't wait for others to do it. So thanks very much for your message. Over to you, Amy.
Thanks, Terry. Well, I'd like to thank Adam Peabody for joining us today from Planet Hatch. And I also say that I'm really looking forward to our upcoming initiative that Global Vision will be getting ready to launch, so how we can help young entrepreneurs from coast to coast to coast to get those great skills that you mentioned in our interview today. So at this point, I'd like to wish our viewers to stay safe, healthy, and strong. And if you have some great news to report, please feel free to outreach us at globalvision.ca.